Hey guys, what's up? It's Generalkidd here. How's everyone doing? Today I've got something pretty cool to show you guys actually. And this started out at first as kind of like a little I thought I had like a little experiment I wanted to try out with modding on this mission. I was wondering whether Miranda Keyes could be infected by the flood. And normally she doesn't appear in gameplay except for this mission, and only at this very beginning part and briefly inside a Pelican at the later in the mission in the second half. But aside from that, you never see her in gameplay in any other missions. So I was wondering if you could get flood near her during gameplay, flood infection forms, if they would actually infect her and turn her into a combat form. So to do that, I had to add flood to this mission, flood carriers and flood infection forms. Normally they don't exist on this mission, so I had to inject them into the mission essentially. And I also had to make Miranda Keyes not invincible, because she's actually totally invincible on this mission. So I just turned that off. So with that in mind, let's see what happens. And as you can see, the real Miranda Keyes here cannot get infected by the flood, because she doesn't actually have any of the flood transformation stuff in her biped. But even if you do add that stuff, which I did, it still doesn't work. There's probably like more modification needed to get her to actually be infected. But just her plain old biped there cannot get infected by the flood. But I wanted to actually see her get infected by the flood. So what I did here is these used to be the crewmen on this mission, the crew members. They were like those unarmed Marines, or they weren't actually Marines. They're just the workers here. They were operating the computers. I just simply swapped their models for Miranda Keyes' model, and I also added the necessary flood transformation stuff. Because even though Miranda Keyes' biped cannot get infected by the flood, these guys can. So I swapped all of them for Miranda Keyes, and I also cleared out all the armed Marines so that they don't interfere here. And we're just gonna spawn a lot of flood carriers here, and we're gonna pop them so that there'll be like a huge swarm of infection forms, and hopefully these Miranda Keyes will get caught inside a huge swarm, and some of them will get infected. So here we go. Here's the first one. That Miranda Keyes there. Yep. And she's already getting infected, as well as the second one over there. So there you have it. That is Miranda Keyes getting infected by the flood. Technically, these are Marines or crewmen, so they're not actually Miranda Keyes. I'm just using her model for this. I'm essentially borrowing their bodies and replacing their models with Miranda Keyes' model. But their bodies are still the same, and their bodies are bipeds, actually, are the actual things that can get infected by the flood. But what's interesting is that when they get infected, I'm not sure if it's Miranda Keyes' dialogue or if it's their dialogue, but they do make like a high pitched like scream, like not really a scream, but kind of like just like a slight painful scream, and it kind of sounds like Miranda Keyes, but I've been told like it's not her. It's like one of the Marines scream, but I'm not actually sure. But if you guys could hear it, just let me know if it's actually Miranda Keyes' dialogue or if it's the Marines. I couldn't actually tell. But anyway, so now that you've seen that, for the rest of this video, we're just gonna try to get. I'm just gonna keep spawning them in waves, and actually, I do want to point out that Miranda Keyes and Johnson there, even though they're unarmed, they're actually pretty good at taking out the flood infection forms just with their bare hands and fists. But for the rest of this video, we're gonna try to get them infected, just finish off the rest, and just watch them like fight off waves of flood infection forms. So here I spawned even more, a huge wave, and that should infect hopefully the rest of them. It's actually scary seeing Miranda Keyes getting infected by the flood. But yeah, there you have it. The rest of them are infected, and they do turn into regular Flood combat forms. Because if I'm not mistaken, human Flood combat forms don't have any special variations, unlike elites, which change armor colors based on what the elite was. Anyways, one of the Miranda Keyes survived, and now she's fighting off the rest of the Flood combat forms, her former allies, or her former sisters. And there's one left. Let's see if she can handle the last one. And Miranda Keyes wins. Oh, and a little Flood infection form just randomly dropped out of nowhere, and is now infecting her. What a shame. She took on all of them and won, survived, only to be infected right away, right after that. But, so that basically wraps us up. That's Miranda Keyes turning into a Flood. So, yeah, I hope you guys did find this to be interesting, and I do have actually a few more experiments related to this with other characters, trying to see if they can be turned into Floods. So, if there's any specific characters you want to see first, I can make that my priority. Just let me know in the comments, and I'll try to tackle that character first. But other than that, if you enjoyed this, found it interesting, just leave a like, and leave any other thoughts or suggestions you might have in the comments, and I'll definitely look them over. But other than that, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and also click that little notification button next to the subscribe button so that you can stay up to date with our latest videos. And other than that, I will see you guys next time. Have a nice day.